Goku being raised by Grandpa Gohan played just as much of a role, if not more, than him hitting his head in how he acts today. The kind-hearted, good, loving person was a product of the way Gohan raised him. But how would things be different if Goku didn't land at Mount Paozu? What if Goku landed at Fire Mountain? What if Ox King raised Goku? Let's get into it. From an explanation standpoint of how this happens, it isn't too difficult to make work. Goku's pod could experience a slight turbulence, changing its course just ever so slightly. Or Bardock's coordinates could be just a smidge different. Regardless, this would result in Goku crash landing outside Fire Mountain where Ox King and Chi-Chi live. Goku and Chi-Chi are about the same age, so she would be 3 years old just as he would be. Ox King would go outside and take care of whatever it was he had heard, but when he got out there, all he saw was a crater. In the crater, he sees a pod, which opened up to reveal a child. It's most likely that Goku would not be named Goku here. I think Ox is more likely to go for something like Roshi as an homage to his former master, or Gohan as an homage to his fellow pupil. But for simplicity's sake, let's just call him Goku. Ox would end up taking him in, and as we know, he is a rowdy kid at first. But to be fair, Ox is probably going to be a better candidate to take care of a child because he has that experience. He raised Chi-Chi by himself, and Gohan didn't have any experience with kids. Speaking of Chi-Chi, her and Goku would still start to develop a bond as they are being raised together, but they're being raised together as brother and sister, so it's not anything lovey-dovey. It's most likely that Goku wouldn't hit his head here, but think about it. It's a common misconception that hitting his head is the reason that Goku didn't destroy the planet. If you don't look at the non-canon Bardock movies, Goku wasn't sent to Earth to destroy it. The canon story is that he was sent to Earth to be saved, and he isn't a destructive person by nature. The Saiyans mold their children into that, so being molded into a good-hearted person by Gohan, Goku became that way. Same thing applies here. He would be raised by Ox to be a good person and even have Chi-Chi with him as a friend his age. Would Goku murder Ox by becoming a great ape? I don't think so. For Gohan to have known to tell Goku not to come out during a full moon because a monster will come out, he must have encountered the Great Ape before, and we know that Gohan is much stronger than Goku. His power level of 10 at the start of the series would make his Great Ape only a power level of 100. Gohan is definitely stronger than that, so either he was caught off guard or he decided to hold back as to not harm Goku. Ox King is a student of Roshi's, so he isn't a weak person. He should be able to take care of Goku, and he wouldn't allow himself to be killed because he has another child. I think there's a scenario here where they both make it out, and that is what we're going to go with. As for Ox King's power, his only stated power level is in the Tree of Might movie, and that is one of 900. For that time, it makes complete sense. The Tree of Might movie, albeit not canon, takes place after the Saiyan saga and before Namek. Most of the humans are triple 900 by that point, so it tracks. As for his power level at the start of the series, we can imagine it would probably be relative to Gohan's, which is relative to Roshi's. Being alive, Ox would see Goku's inclination towards fighting and train him under the Turtle School to the best of his ability. Of course, not being able to teach him the Kamehameha because he doesn't know it himself. Chi-Chi would also join on this training, and this would increase her love of fighting. Goku would be stronger than his original self, but it's nothing crazy. Instead of a power level of 10, let's just put him at 50, which I think is fair considering he's training with a master who isn't quite the level of Roshi, but he is still training. And for Chi-Chi, we can put her at a power level of 25. Of course, the series starts with Bulma on the hunt for the Dragon Balls, where she would come across a very much alive Gohan. She would likely try to seduce him like she did to Goku, but Gohan would just give her the ball, and I like to think that he would join her on this journey as Goku did to provide protection. However, Gohan is a much stronger, more sensible, and well-trained version of Goku, so he would be of extreme help to Bulma. The first encounter is rather interesting. As night falls, Bulma places down her capsule to take shelter, and in the morning, Gohan finds Turtle seeking for help. Having been a former student of Master Roshi, Gohan is well aware of who Turtle is and is immediately on the move to help him. He finds his way to Master Roshi's island, not stopping on the coast, and taking Bulma alongside him. Once he gets there, of course, him and Roshi have their reunion, and after Bulma realizes he possesses one of the Dragon Balls, Gohan requests for him to give it to them. Because Gohan is one of his old pupils, he hands it over to him without getting Bulma to do anything weird. Roshi may still offer the Nimbus Cloud, but I could see Gohan rejecting it as they already collected the Dragon Ball as compensation, and it's not really necessary for them to have, unlike with Goku. Moving forward, Gohan and Bulma come across the village that Oolong was terrorizing and collect another ball in exchange for Gohan defeating the monster. This is an easy task, quickly completed, after which Bulma forces Oolong to join them on their hunt as his shapeshifting could be useful later down the road. Eventually they end up in the desert, and Yamcha would attempt to attack the group before quickly realizing that the person he just swung upon is a legendary martial artist, Gohan. In the original series, Yamcha was able to determine that Goku was the grandson of Gohan once he pulled out the power pole, so he's aware of who Gohan is. With this knowledge, he quickly yields and apologizes, seeking training under Gohan rather than being an enemy of his. Gohan smiles and accepts, as Yamcha too joins the team. At Fire Mountain is where things start to get interesting. Gohan would reunite with Ox, but him and Bulma would also meet Goku and Chi-Chi for the first time. Gohan would be able to help them by using the Kamehameha to blow out the fire, and seconds later he would witness Goku mimic the technique. shocking him. Chi-Chi would ask her father if Goku and her could go and help them, and although he is overprotective because Gohan is with them, he doesn't see a problem with it. And now we have a large group of Dragon Ball hunters. I don't think they would get trapped by the Pilaf gang, but the problem would come in the form of Goku. As he looks up at the full moon, Goku starts to transform into a great ape, which leads to Chi-Chi shouting at everyone that they need to cut off his tail. This gives the Pilaf gang a distraction to steal the Dragon Balls, but Oolong would see them summoning Shenron and he shouts his wish to stop them from getting theirs. With Gohan and Chi-Chi present to help Oolong and Yamcha cut Goku's tail, it would be mostly smooth sailing as they were able to do it originally as well. After this, instead of training under Roshi as Goku has actually not met him yet, he would train under Gohan, which Ox thinks is a great idea. Yamcha and Chi-Chi would also join him. While they have already done most of the Turtle School training under Ox King, Gohan would provide a new perspective and more vigorous training, which also includes full-on sparring with him. Krillin would also end up training with Roshi, but without Goku there, he would definitely be weaker as there's no one for him to compete with. Goku would be a decent bit stronger than he was originally because he isn't starting at a power level of 10, he's starting at 50. Gohan would also participate in Tenkaichi Budokai and encounter Roshi there once more. Yamcha and Gohan would replace Ranfan and Girin as competitors. Krillin would beat Bacterian, Yamcha would still lose to Roshi, although he puts up a great fight. Chi-Chi would fight Nam and win. Goku fights Gohan, and this fight would resemble that of him versus Roshi originally, just a stronger version of it. Gohan would definitely have put in the work outside of just training Goku to make himself strong enough to teach him the lesson that there is always someone stronger. For that reason, Goku would not win this fight. Jackie-chan would beat Krillin, and Gohan would beat Chi-Chi with the two masters facing off against one another in the end. It would be thrilling for the two of them to be fighting again, but this time Gohan is the stronger one, and he would come out on top, winning the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. Since Goku wasn't raised by Gohan, following the tournament, he doesn't really care to go and retrieve the 4-star ball. But Bulma would approach him and ask if he would want to go and collect the Dragon Balls with her. She thinks that it's best for her to have them in case she wants to make another wish. But you know, the side benefit is it stays away from the bad guys. This would lead to the various encounters with the Regiment Army. Goku would defeat Colonel Silver, General White, and General Blue relative to how he did it originally. It wouldn't be much of a task. But when Tao Pai Pai is hired to kill him, he would be able to stop the assassin from killing Bora, because Goku was just stronger than him this time around. He would be able to defeat Tao in their first encounter, and Goku would climb up Karin's tower just because he's interested in completing the challenge. He gets the fake Sacred Water and learns that Karin trained Roshi decades ago. He comes back down, and like originally, for some reason the Dragon Radar can't find the last Dragon Ball. Since Goku isn't that motivated to find the last ball because there isn't someone to revive, they're just not going to participate in a whole tournament to get the ball. It's more likely that the Pilaf gang just eventually come for the 6 balls and Goku would stop them and get the last one. Through this journey, Goku and Bulma's bond would go further, and I think it makes much more sense for the two of them to be the love interests in this story. 3 years of peace later, the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai comes around where we have the Turtle Hermit rivalry with the Crane School. While Gohan and Roshi would still participate, I think it's irrelevant. Mostly the tournament goes exactly the same, with Goku and Tien ending up as the 2 final fighters. Even though, technically speaking, Roshi and Gohan are strong enough to defeat Tien, they want to relay the message to turn Tien into a good guy rather than defeating him. This leads to his fight with Goku, where Goku doesn't exactly share the same sentiment as he just wants to win. He's stronger than his original self and plenty capable of defeating Tien. After the match, Goku forgets Ox King's Dragon Ball that he was keeping in his possession, so Chi-Chi goes back to get it, and that's when she's attacked and killed by Tambourine. In a fit of rage, Goku chases after the monster and easily kills him in an instant. Unfortunately, this time around though, the Dragon Balls aren't split up. 6 are at Capsule Corp and 1 is in Goku's possession, and King Piccolo has already collected the other 6. Bulma uses her radar to find Goku, and alongside the rest of the group, they go to confront King Piccolo. Now, while Goku got bodied originally at first, he really doesn't need any help to defeat King Piccolo, and I don't see Roshi risking his life to use the Mafuba if Goku is strong enough to win, which he is. So Piccolo gets rocked and spits out an egg that gives birth to Piccolo Jr., which is why Kami would stay alive and then come down to recruit Goku. Goku vows to Bulma that he'll see her in 3 years, and so training commences in return for Kami reviving Chi-Chi. Now, I think it makes complete sense for Piccolo to train up to match the level that Goku was. His whole life existence up to that point was to kill Goku, so he would train up in accordance with Goku's power level. So assuming that Goku's power level is like relative to 500, Piccolo would get to a power level of 500. In this time, Goku would also lose his tail because Kami cuts it off, and we enter the tournament where most fights go pretty much the same. And it ends with Piccolo versus Goku. A spectacular fight exactly like the original, with the two just having higher relative power levels. In the end, Piccolo blows a hole through Goku's arm ready to kill him, but in a surprise, Goku comes hurtling down from the sky and landing the final blow. After which, he stops Kami from killing Piccolo and spares his life. Goku flies off to Capsule Corp with Bulma, where the two finally get together for good and have Gohan. I think Chi-Chi and Yamcha have a good chance of making it here, and that would probably happen. With Bulma not being as study-heavy as Chi-Chi was, she doesn't really care about what Gohan does. But he would probably still be even smarter with Bulma as his mom and Dr. Briefs there to teach him stuff as a scientist, who is also his grandpa. Gohan would probably have small and light training sessions with Goku because he isn't being stopped by a mother who will not let her train. With the reunion at Kame House, Chi-Chi and Yamcha would also be there, and Goku and Bulma introduced their son, Gohan, to the group. Now, solid chance again, he wouldn't be named Gohan, but we're gonna keep things simple and just go with that. Naturally, Raditz would attack everyone, and he is still much stronger than any single person there, so he comes in and takes Gohan like originally with Goku, Piccolo, Chi-Chi, and Yamcha chasing after him. While they're hesitant to work with Piccolo, he kinda just throws himself in there. Goku and him are probably around power levels of 600, stronger than originally, but to be honest, not enough to make a significant difference. With Chi-Chi and Yamcha there, they help in providing assistance, but they aren't strong enough to matter too much. Gohan would still get pissed off somewhere in the fight, delivering a fatal blow to Raditz, with Goku getting his life ended similar to the original. As the warning of the Saiyans come, Piccolo decides to be a semi-good guy, but he does take Gohan like originally, training him up. Chi-Chi, determined as ever to get her nephew back and protect the planet, would go up with the rest of the Z Fighters to train under Kami, awaiting the Saiyans' arrival. A stronger Goku makes it through Snake Way quicker and has more time to train, learning the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb as well. The Saiyans arrive with Goku making his way back as quickly as possible. I would say that on Earth, Chi-Chi and Piccolo are relative in strength as the two strongest, with everyone else right behind them. She would be extremely hostile towards Piccolo though, as he did take Goku's son. But with her added onto the team, I think that while Nappa still kills Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu, he would be stopped by a combined effort of an enraged Gohan, Piccolo, Chi-Chi, and Krillin, just in time for Goku to arrive and face Vegeta. His base power level would likely be a little higher, more like 10,000 instead of 8, so when Vegeta goes all out, a Kaioken times 3 would be more than enough to not only best him, but also survive the Galick Gun. This leaves Goku less strained when Vegeta ultimately becomes a Great Ape and able to evade longer. Chi-Chi gets the bright idea to turn Gohan into a Great Ape, which actually isn't so bad. She just grabs him and makes him look up, providing a distraction for Vegeta. Piccolo swoops in and cuts his tail off after Krillin lands a solar flare. They do the same thing with Gohan to cut off his tail, and with Piccolo and Chi-Chi still able to fight, they can fend off a heavily wounded Vegeta. And that's when Goku asks for them to show mercy and let him go. Reluctantly, they do. And they don't actually need to go to Namek this time around. With Piccolo alive, they use Earth's Dragon Balls to wish everyone back. And that means that Vegeta and Frieza are going to be the only ones competing for the Dragon Balls on Namek. Vegeta would try his best to get his wish, even managing to steal the Dragon Balls off of Frieza. And without the Z Fighters on Namek to slow him down, he gets extremely close to getting his wish. But the last Dragon Ball that he has to obtain is with Guru, who is protected by Nail. And Nail, well, at this point, he's just stronger than Vegeta and he kills him. Unfortunately though, Namek is practically fated to die here, because they can't stop Frieza. But Guru does die, which leads to the Dragon Balls turning to stone, and Frieza not getting his wish, but destroying the planet for good. Frieza kinda just stays in space after this, not knowing of a set of Dragon Balls on Earth. Of course, this means no Frieza saga, but I do think Goku would continue his gravity training, getting Bulma to make a chamber for him. He would start to train Gohan, and life is good. Now, Heart Virus. Does it come for Goku? Now, of course, as I've established in prior videos, the Heart Virus is not from Yardrat. If you don't believe me, watch a YouTube video on it, there is some good explanations out there. But because he got it on Earth originally, would he still get it here? The best timeline for when Goku could have contracted the virus is after he arrived back on Earth from Yardrat. So he got it sometime in that gap of peace. Goku is still on Earth in that time of peace, so no reason he can't contract it, so Goku gets sick and dies. Eventually the androids are released, and while they are weaker than originally because of the lack of data collected from King Cold and Frieza, they are still much too strong for the Z Fighters. Chi-Chi, Piccolo, and every Z Fighter dies, except for Gohan, who would become a Super Saiyan in that moment and get the strength to escape. Now with the gravity room that they have, and given that Gohan can control Super Saiyan with time, there is a solid chance that he can get strong enough to beat the androids. But I do think it's more likely that he goes back in time and warns the Z Fighters of the threat to come. He doesn't have a Trunks to train, and he doesn't have a Trunks to save, so he is just looking out for himself out there, and he wouldn't lose his arm either, so he wouldn't be handicapped against the androids, and I believe he would make it out alive, leading to him going back in time with Bulma's machine and warning the Z Fighters of the androids. He would influence his younger self to train more, and that would carry more weight as it's coming from a future version of himself. He would show off Super Saiyan to Goku, and I think it's very likely that he stays back to make sure that they unlock the form, because Goku this time around has only experienced very limited loss. It was Chi-Chi dying, and that's the rage he needs to resurface to unlock the form, and with training, he manages to do it, but not Gohan. Speaking of Chi-Chi, she would hear this warning and get generally freaked out that she isn't strong enough to save the planet, and the fact that she's going to die. So she would ask Goku to teach her the Kaioken. It seemed like a good way for her to amplify her power, and obviously she can't use Super Saiyan, so she might as well learn what she can. Piccolo would train with them, and now he's basically a full-time good guy, mainly just for Gohan though. The androids attack, and like originally, Jiro and 19 are first. The hard virus strikes Goku, and Gohan takes him away while Chi-Chi uses Kaioken to defeat Android 19, and Jiro escapes. Gohan arrives back to the past as Androids 17 and 18 are released, and what shocks him is that for some reason, they are stronger than their future selves. Without a Vegeta there, Gohan convinces everyone to leave and regather at Kami's lookout, which is where Goku comes once he's healed. Now, a much weaker version of Cell would still be lingering about. Contrary to popular belief, Cell is only made up of 5 people: Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, and King Cold. Now take out 3 of those guys because they aren't present, and you're left with Goku and Piccolo. So Cell is definitely much weaker, and he needs to absorb way more people to contest with the androids. Does Kami fuse with Piccolo here? Originally, Kami knew about Namek, and while he didn't exactly say he was considering it, I don't know that Kami is dumb enough to leave the planet without a set of Dragon Balls, knowing there is no way to get them back. So it's most likely that he considered Namek as an option for replacement Dragon Balls originally, and I don't see him fusing with Piccolo here for that reason. No one ever went to Namek. They don't have another set of Dragon Balls, so maybe he just sends Gohan down there to fight Cell, and I think Gohan kills him. This is future Gohan. This Gohan has been through shit. He would not hesitate to kill any android, especially one that he is stronger than at that time. With Cell eliminated, that leaves android 16, 17, and 18. I don't think they need a full year in the time chamber, especially because Goku is thinking of taking both versions of his son inside. With the limited food, this would cut their time by 1/3, so they only have 8 months. Goku and Gohan took 10 months originally to unlock grade 4, and I think with future Gohan there, they could accomplish it in 8. It's not too much of a stretch. And to be fair, they could just replenish the food and go back in. With that said, future Gohan takes it upon himself to finish all 3 androids and then head back to his time and do the same there. He leaves words of wisdom for his younger self. Never stop training, as another threat could always be on the horizon. But at the same time, don't lose yourself. Keep a balance. Gohan would keep this in mind and study as well as train so he doesn't lose his touch. Him and Goku would likely unlock Super Saiyan 2 over the next 7 years, but definitely not Super Saiyan 3. Goten would be born as well, and he's kinda just there. With Goku and Gohan also consistently training together, I don't think I need to remind you guys just how strong Gohan is if he trains. He would be the strongest of the 2. The Buu Saga comes around, and Gohan is too powerful for Shin to hold down long enough for Spopovich and Yamu to take all his energy, so they get about half. Gohan gets healed, and they go after the group. Dabura kills Kibito and stones Piccolo, which enrages Gohan. Him, Goku, and Chi-Chi go inside, with Chi-Chi fighting Pui Pui with Kaioken, defeating him. Goku takes out Yakon, and Gohan obliterates Dabura. It's not even a fight. Babidi can't Majin anyone, and that's game. Gohan realistically becomes the main character as Toriyama intended for him to be. With Beerus still coming to Earth, Gohan would give him by far the best fight, but they can't produce a Super Saiyan God with the amount of Saiyans that are on Earth. So realistically, Beerus would kill them all. But in the off chance that he doesn't, Whis would train Goku and Gohan to unlock Super Saiyan God, which they would then use to give Beerus the fight of his life, from which he decides he will spare Earth. Frieza never gets revived because he's still alive, so that whole arc is avoided. And the Universe 6 tournament is up next. Gohan would most likely participate and take Vegeta's place in entering. So he defeats Frost, defeats Vegeta, doesn't teach Kaba how to go Super Saiyan because he can't be that brutal, but he does have a respectful fight with him. With a Super Saiyan Blue Gohan in the ring, who is also a Goku trained martial artist, Gohan would figure out how to fight Hit. Strength is not his worry because he is clearly the stronger fighter, it's just finding a way to beat the time skip, which he eventually does. But this has unforeseen consequences, in that Zamasu watches the fight and gets the idea to steal Gohan's body instead of Goku's. In a distant future, he takes Gohan's body and slaughters Videl and Pan, after which he travels to future Gohan's world and lays waste. Future Gohan would still be the sole protector of Earth, having defeated Cell and actually stopping Dabura after training with the Z-Sword without Shin and Kibito dying. But once Black enters the timeline, he would kill Shin as to indirectly kill Beerus so he can take that universe without God's interference. Gohan would have Super Saiyan 2 and the Z-Sword fighting Black, but it's just not enough. Again, he has to travel to the past and get help. And as he leaves, he sees Black kill his mother right in front of him. An enraged future Gohan arrives in the past, getting help from his past self, who he is happy to see continue to train and is now leagues ahead of even himself. Gohan Black arrives in the past as well, and present Gohan goes to fight him. Now, unlike Goku, this Gohan is about business. He just saw a future version of himself come back and tell him that this guy laid waste to his planet, killed their mother, So without wasting time, without going through forms, Gohan goes into Super Saiyan Blue and eliminates the target. Future Gohan would stay around for a little bit, get cleaned up, and even have dinner with Videl and Pan, happy for his younger self and hoping that he too can get a life like that. Gohan isn't done just yet though. He wishes to show Gohan the next level of power. Just like how Future Gohan once told him that he needed to be strong enough to protect his world, Gohan now wants to return the favor and teach Future Gohan new levels of power. He introduces Future Gohan to Whis, and training in the God Realm helps him unlock Super Saiyan God. With this gift, Future Gohan, and Goku head to the future and encounter none other than Zamasu, who is still at large. He learns that Gohan Black has been killed, but being immortal, he can't really be killed. Could Zamasu cook up something devious because he's a god that can teleport? It's possible. Am I gonna let him? Absolutely not. Easy solutions to wipe out Zamasu is Disease Sword, which they actually are in possession of, or the Mafuba, which they can learn easily. I'm gonna let Future Gohan get his happy ending. The Tournament of Power is unlikely to happen because Goku doesn't have a similar connection with Zeno. He never gets the Zeno button, and because of that, he never reminds Zeno to create the Tournament of Power. So things are peaceful for some time, with Frieza not even bringing Broly to Earth. The threat of Moro would cause Mears and Jaco to come to Earth in search of Buu's egg, but unfortunately, that is on Shin's world being protected. Mears decides to take the next best thing, that being Son Goku and Son Gohan along with him to fight Moro. Now, Moro is not going to Namek because Namek doesn't exist, so where is he going? Well, technically nowhere. The person that told him about Dragon Balls was a Frieza soldier that was also in the galactic prison. But without that guy there, and especially with Namek already being destroyed, Moro is technically just an escaped prisoner without any way of getting his magic back. Still, without wishing for his magic back, he was able to take down Goku and Vegeta by slowly draining their energy over the course of the battle. While that could still happen, we have a Gohan with power that exceeds that of Moro, Goku, and Vegeta, with Gohan's mentality. So he doesn't give Moro the chance to steal his energy. He kills him as quickly as possible. So that wraps that. And without 7-3 escaping, he doesn't have knowledge of Moro in his head. No knowledge of Dragon Balls or Goku and Vegeta, which means that the Heaters don't want him. So they never hire Granola, and there's a good chance that Granola takes up his revenge against Frieza. He's still well and alive, but without his golden form or nearly any of the strength he had originally. So if Granola wishes to become the strongest, he's going to likely only kill the Heaters, and most definitely kill Frieza. But he doesn't know about any Saiyans still being alive. And after that, he rests for the 3 years of life he'll have to live after. The events of Super Hero would go mostly exactly the same. I think Piccolo is likely to unlock a new form, but Gohan probably wouldn't get Beast. I think Super Saiyan Blue is probably what he's going to use, and that should be enough to defeat Cell Max. With that said though, I hope you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe, and check out this video to continue your good day on YouTube.